morning, gifted crafters. It's crafting time.
I swear I can sew a straight line. Got me my buddy who can do it in no time. Hit the pedal to the metal, watch the stitches fly. That's my buddy, it's always by my side. So here's to my buddy, it's just me and my machine. Stitching our dreams, yeah, we make quite a team. Together we stitch, yeah, together we mend. Nothing is better than my sewing friend. So let me sew to my heart's content, stitching away till the fabric gets spent. Hypnotized, up and down the needle goes. Thread leaves the bobbin, so does my woes. So here's to my buddy, it's just me and my machine. Stitching our dreams, yeah, we make quite a team. Together we stitch, yeah, together we mend. Nothing is better than my sewing friend.
Live from the Sunshine State in Miami, Florida, here is the Gifted Crafters Morning Show with Nancy.
Good time. Ooh, time to get our craft on. Ooh, time to have fun. Ooh, time to feel good.
Good morning, Gifted Crafters, and welcome back to the Gifted Crafters Morning Show. Good morning out there. We've got people that tune in from all over the place, and thank you all for tuning in and spending this hour with me. And my name is Nancy from GiftsHQ, in case this is the first time that you are watching. And we host this hour to just talk about all things crafting, from knitting, sewing, crocheting, and just so much more. We share all kinds of tips and tricks. So again, if you're here for the first time, pop your name into the chat and let us know. Or if you're watching the replay, go ahead and leave a comment, because our group is just truly amazing, guys. We have the best group around. It's really, really a lot of fun. We have a lot of laughs in here, and we just have a great time together. So I hope that you really enjoyed today's session. Let's see who we have out there today. I see Faker McFake. Good morning. We have Patricia from Ohio. Good morning and welcome. We've got Jenny Owens. I see Barbara from Ohio. Let's see, a lot of people from Ohio here. Here's Marilyn. I see JBL 9848. Good morning. Yay. Happy hump day. Woohoo. Yes, it is. Happy hump day. That's right. Awesome. Love it. And Bettina, good morning to you. Boricua Sewing and Crafts. That's my sister. Good morning. We've got Cindy Ball. We've got Lori. We've got, let's see, from Richmond, Illinois, we've got Lisa Lilly. Good morning. And we've got Connie with us here today, and Linda and Liz from Louisiana. A lot of people from Louisiana as well. Yay. We've got people from Northern Michigan as well. Linda, good morning again. And thank you again, once again, for tuning in and joining in, supporting my channel. It's really important to me, and I really love connecting with you guys each and every morning. It's just a lot of fun. All right, from Boston, yes, we've got the North coming in here as well. Awesome, love it. Dover, Pennsylvania, we've got Jackie. We've got Oregon from Jessica. Awesome, oh my goodness. That's amazing. See, we just pull in from all over the place. It's really amazing. Now, I am tuning in from Miami, Florida, and yeah, it's pretty hot and humid here. So we don't get too much of a winter, but I still enjoy to see all the seasons and everything here. Oh my goodness, from Wisconsin. Good morning, Marge. How are you? Awesome. All righty. So let's kind of just dive right into it because I like to start all of my sessions with a little toast. And for those of you that know, you may already have your glasses already raised. So here we go. Let's go ahead and grab yourself a cup of whatever it is you have in the morning, coffee, tea, soda, water. It doesn't matter. There's no judgment here. Go ahead and raise your glasses nice and high. I want to see some positive vibes here today for everyone because we're going to have a fantastic day and it's going to be a great hour. We're going to share all kinds of tips and have a great time. So raise your glasses. Here's a toast to all my gifted crafters. May you have a wonderful day. And of course, if you don't have a cup, no worries. I'm going to pour you a cup. So let's go ahead and roll that over. Yes. Cheers, Barbara. Yes. Thank you. Swivel, swivel. Here we come. Yay. Oh, love it. Yes, I'm still having my cold water every morning. I know, a little burr for you guys in the morning there from you guys up north. But, you know, it's hot and humid down here, so gotta have my cold water. It's good to drink water every day. So I have it in the morning before I grab my coffee or anything else. One more swivel here. Awesome. Oh, that feels good. Okay. Oh, Connie says South Louisiana is supposed to be cooling down a bit over the next week. Ooh, gumbo weather. Although we love gumbo anytime. That's awesome. Thanks, Connie. Alrighty. Yay. Cheers. Coffee cup was raised for Jenny. Yay. Awesome. Yeah, let me know. What are you drinking? Is it coffee, tea, soda, water? What is it that you like to have in the morning? I like to have my water. So water, water, water for me. And then we'll move over to some other stuff. Oh, there's my friends from Canada. Good morning and welcome. Alrighty, so we've got our drinks in place. That's all done. Let's move over and get ourselves some snacks because, you know, you got to have something in the morning, right? It's an important part of the day. So today we've got our food truck rolling around. So let's roll that out here. We've got our food truck. And of course, on our food truck, we've got everything that you can imagine. It's all totally free. Put in your orders. Coffee, tea, soda, water. We've got donuts, danishes, cookies, bacon and eggs. We've got pancakes. And we've got some pumpkin pancakes too. That's pretty cool. And of course, we've got the carrots and kale. And oh yeah, hold on. We forgot the witch. The witch is here, of course, because, you know, it's almost Halloween. So gotta have that witch there. So I hope you guys that are working on your costumes are almost there, right? Hopefully you're almost done or, you know, near completion as we get closer and closer to that date. Alrighty. Yes, coffee, then water, water, water. That's what Lori does. No problem. Banana nut muffin. Yum. Awesome. Okay. The warm bed is making it hard for you to get up in the morning. Well, Joyce, we're going to get you out of that bed because you got to roll into that craft room. We've got a lot of work to do. Holidays are rolling around as quicker than you can blink an eye. It's just really around the corner. I mean, we're already towards the end of October, guys. We're going to be talking about Thanksgiving like in a couple weeks. Really, really quick. So get those turkeys ready because, you know, lots of cooking to do. That's one of my favorite holidays. I just really love to gather people together, share a good meal, you know, and just have a lot of fun. It's just really, really nice to be among family and friends. It's really neat. Alrighty. Oh, Mariana, good morning, everyone. You're driving your daughter to the airport. I'll have to catch the show on replay. I'll take my treat to go. Awesome. Well, grab yourself a couple of treats because you know that those airlines don't like to give food too much. So drive safe and give your daughter some treats for her flight. Alrighty. And I hope she has a nice, safe flight as well. Okay, so we've got our treats, we've gotten our drinks, and I hope you're in your nice cozy spot or in a nice safe place that you can watch. And you know, you can always watch later on the replay as well. So just make sure that you are safe. Okay, you sent your Halloween garden flag to your daughter. She loves it so much that she wants to display it inside the house to preserve it. Oh, that's pretty cool. Awesome. Well, if you haven't seen her garden flag, you can go over to our Facebook group because she's posted it on our Facebook group. And it's so, so cute. So guys, you know, this is amazing. I'm really happy you guys are sharing all kinds of projects that you're making. And as we get closer to those holidays, you know, it's a safe place where, you know, even if it's a gift for someone, they may not be in our group. So you can share it with us and they won't know a thing. So, alrighty, let's get going here. Okay, so we have been working on, if you haven't tuned in earlier this week, we've been working on Hopscotch. And Hopscotch is a panel quilt that we have been working that is with Batik fabrics. It is so, so, so cute. It's got these little gnomes here, as you can see, and so gorgeous. I mean, just from the beginning of the project, I have been telling you guys, I've had this and the fabrics are just so beautiful. I just didn't want to cut them because they were just too beautiful. But I finally got brave enough and I went ahead and I cut them, and we've been working on this ever since. Now, we've talked about the panel, we've talked about the borders on the top and the bottom. And so last night I said I was going to continue on to the border. And so I completed, if I can roll this out here, I completed the top border. And let me see, let me hold it up this way. There you go. There's your top border. See that? And so we've got our sashing in between, and I really love the way this looks. I love this kind of like, almost like a brick type of look, how it's so, so simple. It's just, you know, the rectangles here, the larger rectangles and the smaller rectangles, just alternating them and putting the sashing in between, and then the small sashing in between to make up the block. You know, me and Miss Molly were up and just really sewing away last night. I really love Miss Molly. So you guys don't know, Miss Molly is my little straight stitch machine that was gifted to me, and I just really appreciate and love her every single day. And we were up and we were doing the panel here. I mean, doing the borders right here. And so we were able to finish the top border. And then I wanted to finish and I just kept going and going. I had to force myself to stop because I wanted to do it with you guys. So I'm gonna do the couple of more blocks down here. I know yesterday we did the block, so today we're adding the sashing, and then we're gonna look at the inner border. And I wanna show you, and I know we talked a little bit about the panel yesterday, but I wanna show you exactly, and you can so see it when you're looking at the panel and I line it up against these borders. You're gonna see. And it almost made me want to cry, but I'm going to show you exactly what happens when we put that border together. So, since we've got all of this to do, and I've got the border right over here, I've already pinned it, and it's ready to go for me to put the inner border. We've got a ton to do, so we're going to just dive right into sewing the sashing in between the blocks. And then we're going to move over. Once we're done with that, we're going to move over to the panel. I'm going to line it up and show you exactly what I mean when we were talking about yesterday, things getting cut off and the panel not true to size, or, you know, it's just not straight. It's just a little annoying. Yeah, it's beautiful colors. I know, right? It just screams fall. It's just so, so gorgeous. I really, really love these colors. And this is something that, you know, you guys can do this with fabric from your own stash. I mean, just pick a small rectangle and a large rectangle. Just decide what that size is going to be for your block. And then once you have that, it's just alternating them and picking the sashing. And one thing that kind of really screamed at me is, wow, these colors are perfect and I love the panel. But I was thinking, what if you had black sashing with like batik fabrics? I mean, it may be a little dark, but you can have like a black sashing to kind of really resemble like almost like a real brick, you know, like a real brick home that has, you know, the little bricks going across, but maybe like some dark sashing here, and then some like, you can do some bright colors or you can do some batiks, but it will really pop because you have that, like, they have this fabric called Amish black, and it's really, really dark, but it's really nice fabric that you can't really see through. Oh my gosh, so, so cute. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, these colors make a cool fall feel warm. They absolutely do. You got the pumpkin fussy cut perfect. Yeah, you know, I was really particular about looking at the pumpkin, and I want you guys to be aware of that, because I did mention yesterday, if you're using directional fabric, you know, you really, really got to pay attention to that. And so on here, see if I hold it up the right way. Yeah. You can see here, you've got some pumpkins here within the batik fabric. And I wanted to make sure that my pumpkins weren't facing upside down. So be really careful on how you lay it out, because you want to make sure that this is facing the correct way. You don't want anything that you have, maybe like a, I don't know, a snowman or something facing upside down, right? So that'll be a little weird, right? Yeah. So you definitely want to check that. What size is the large rectangle? So the large rectangle, the width is 6.5 and the large rectangle was 7.5. And then the smaller blocks were, I think it was 4.5 and 6.5 for the smaller ones. So, you know, just putting those together, and then the sashing, I mean, my gosh, you can really run with this, doing so many things. You can do a festive one, you know, with snowman, if you have some of that really cute fabric, maybe even for Halloween, right? You can do a Halloween border with just like the little ghost. If you guys remember, I had like a pink and white fabric with little ghost on there. Wouldn't that be cute, with some orange sashing going across, and then just get like a really cute panel that screams Halloween, right? Or you don't even have to do a panel. Like this could be like a whole quilt just in itself, right? Just the borders, whole quilt right there. I mean, so, so simple, and really looks amazing. If you really get the right fabric, that'll scream, you know, it's just, it'll look really, really nice. So this is the first one that I sewed up. So now let's get to it, because we've got some sewing to do here. And I've got to wake up Miss Molly, because she's here off to the side of me here. And we're going to just push this over to the side. And I kind of have these lined up. So I've got this sashing, and let me see here. I've got the 3 blocks here that are remaining, and I have them positioned the way I'm going to sew them. So these are the 3 that I'll be adding on, and this is what it looks like so far. So I've only got these 3 put together for the bottom border. And so on here, just checking I'm oriented the right way. Yep, pumpkins are facing down, so we're good. And so these are the 3 I'm going to put and add on to my border. So yeah, looks amazing. Oh, thank you. I think they're just gorgeous. I mean, these fabrics are just so beautiful. It's really like has me so excited, because they're just gorgeous. I love them. I love them. Okay, so we are moving right along here, and I've got this oriented towards me. It's facing me. So I'm going to go ahead and grab another piece of sashing here, and we're going to put it here on the end, and just make sure that I'm covering both ends here. Lay it nice and flat, and then I'm just going to grab some pins here. Let's see, where did my other pins go? Oh, I think I used them for the panel, but that's okay. Now I just like to pin them in place, and it's a little bit of a, I don't want to say it's a slippery fabric, but it kind of moves around on you. So just so that it doesn't move around, I just put a little pin one on each end. You can do one in the middle as well. The longer you get when you're doing these little strips, the more you're going to want to pin that center, because you don't want it to sag, and then while you're sewing it, you don't realize that it shifted on you. So just one in the middle there, 1, 2, and 3. Just pin it into place, nice and well, horizontal to you, it's vertical going down, just so that it won't move around. So you always want to pin it the opposite way from where the fabric could move. That makes sense, right? So like this fabric can probably slide back and forth this way, so I'm going to pin it this way so that it can't move this way, right? So it kind of locks that down into place. Yeah, that's going to be really pretty when it's done. Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. I think it's really going to be so, so cute. So let's bring over Miss Molly. Oh, here we go. I've got her. We definitely got to wake her up. We've got some little sliders underneath here because she's super, super heavy. But we like to put the sliders so that I can move it back and forth, because I don't have a permanent place for her just yet. So she's just on my table all the time because we kind of use her just all the time. So, all right, Miss Molly, wakey, wakey, here we are. Good morning to you. And I'm just going to set myself up here. Let me just find my foot here. Where did I leave you last night? There you are. Okay, and so the way I kind of just set it up here, someone had asked on the, I think it was on the Facebook group, if I had the 1/4 inch foot. I do not, I have been kind of looking at the accessories. I know that this machine has an extension table, and I'm looking into getting that. And I'm just kind of looking at the other accessories that are available with this machine just to see what I can add on and show you guys. So lots and lots of little fun tools that I've kind of been researching lately. So it's been a lot of fun on that. So let me just back up here a little bit. Okay, I think that's about right. I've got my little diagonal seam tape that kind of helps me down on the end on this here, because again, my eye is not on this needle. That needle, we don't need to worry about her. Don't look at her. She's just going up and down. No need for that. We are just really focused that we're keeping this nice and straight. That's what you got to look at. And that's what beginner sewers really tend to kind of just stare at the needle, and then you see them moving all around and everything comes out wonky, and then they wonder why. So don't pay attention to that needle just going up and down. Just go ahead and watch where you are lining up. So I'm just going to take a couple of stitches here, and then I can go ahead and remove my pin. And then I'm focused on this line here. I'm just focused on where my fabric is going and my hand placement, making sure that I am feeding the fabric nice and straight. So we're just going to move that along. And then you want to just kind of adjust the fabric that's kind of hanging off here to the side, because it can tend to kind of pull, because this fabric on this side is moving pretty fast. Those feed dogs are feeding that fabric, and this machine, boy, she likes to go. I mean, she is a speed monster. She's like pedal to the metal and I'm gone. So if I let her, she's just gonna fly by. Of course, I can control the speed up on the top, but I really love that speedy rabbit. So so yeah, she can really go. So I gotta be careful, because if I don't try to keep this side fabric up with the way, with how fast the feed dogs are feeding the fabric, it can kind of pull a little bit, because it's going this way and the fabric over here has so much weight that it's not able to kind of keep up. So I gotta either slow down or make sure that this is not pulling. And so that's why my hand placement is so important, because this side right here can tend to kind of fall like in my lap, you know what I mean? And so when I do that, you know, it may kind of give a little bit of a pull there, and I don't want that. So I'll try to take it slow and just, you know, pause and then just kind of fix my fabric on this end. Okay, so let's get going here. And then you can kind of put your hands where you feel more comfortable. Just be careful with that needle. Okay, and just go ahead. We're coming close to the pin. I'll go ahead and remove the pin. And then just keep going. Now I'm getting to one of the sashings that went across. So the sashings, you'll note that the what we did is we pressed our seams to the inside of that sashing. So I want to make sure that this doesn't get caught up underneath and flip on me. So I've got these pressed in nice and good. I'm going to keep my fingers down to kind of hold that seam down, make sure it's going to be sewed the right way. And then I'm going to just go ahead and continue. I'm now past that seam, so I'm good. And then I'm just going to hold on to the rest. And then as you get to the end of your fabric, this is a really bad habit that I had. I would just kind of let it go. And so it would go wee, and it would come over to the end, and I would end up with a wonky seam right on the end. And it's because I kind of just let it go. You want to make sure that you're feeding it all the way through the end. So just put your finger like right on that little corner here. And as we get closer, let me pull out my pen. As we get closer, you want to make sure that you're not steering to the left or to the right. You're steering it nice and straight, and just follow it all the way through. Notice how I kept my hands over here feeding that fabric. So you definitely want to do that. So we cut our threads, lift up our presser foot, and now we have our nice, beautiful 1/4 inch seam. And if you look on the back, let me see if I can adjust this here. You can see here that my seam allowance is inside, right? It did not flip over on me as I was turning, so which is really good. That's what we want to see. And so that's perfect. And so we're good now. And then we're just going to kind of scoot Molly over for just a little bit, because we do want to grab our iron. And I'm going to bring that over here. Already have it plugged in, and I just turned her on. So she's heating up. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to take our sashing, and I'm going to make sure that my seam allowance is turned on the inside. Very similar to what we did with the others. And I'll lay it flat for you just so you guys could see that. So I am working my seams to be on the inside of the sashing. So they're all turned in, okay? It just makes it a lot cleaner, a lot easier to do. And I think it's just looks a lot neater. And I don't have to worry about it showing or anything like that, because it looks great. So first thing I got to do is set my seam. And so I will lay this flat. Got some threads here to cut, but I can do that later. And then I will go ahead and lay this nice and flat and set that seam. It's always good to do that, because you're kind of reinforcing these seams to behave and also lay nice and flat. And you are just kind of adding that heat to your seams, because then when we turn it over, it's going to look really nice, because then it won't give you as much trouble when it starts to behave. Because of the heat, it starts to behave and move the way you want it to move. And so here we are on the top. This is the front side of the fabric. I'll use my fingers, fold this over here, make sure that my seam is nice and underneath there, and then I just lay it flat. And then I just grab my iron, and I'm going to go ahead and press that to the direction that I want it to go. Now I've got a really small little ironing board here, so just a little difficult for me, but it's okay. We're going to be troopers and get right through it. I was going to bring out my bigger ironing board, but then I need the space for like the panel and stuff, so I didn't do that. So you've got some threads here to cut, but that's okay. Now what I like to do is then flip it over here, and although I already have the seam going the way I want it, I like to kind of reinforce it again. So I'll flip it over and I'll iron it on the back. I'm sorry, not iron, press. We press our fabrics. We don't iron our fabrics. We're not swiveling all over the place here like this, right? We're just pressing them. So we're pressing our seams down, especially towards the ends here, because the ends is where you really want to make sure that they stay flat. And you see this one has a little bit of a curve on it, so this will flatten it out nicely. Now, if you have a clapper, you can bring that out too. For this particular part, I didn't bring it out because they're batiks, and the fabric just really like does what you want. I haven't really had to fight with it, so nice on that end. Okay, so we've got ourselves yet another piece down, and so now we've got to add the block to it. So I'm gonna grab my pins here that I have over to the side, move them over for me, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm lining this or orienting this in the right direction. So if you got directional fabric, make sure that you are orienting this the right way. So I just kind of lay it flat in front of me here, and let me just get rid of the ironing board underneath it. And so I have this laid nice and flat, and I know that this, and I kind of take out the picture if you need to, if you're following this format, and I just see that the larger fabric is on top and the smaller fabric is on the bottom, and that's how that row will start. And so I follow that orientation all the way through, and so now I need the one with the smaller fabric on top, larger fabric on the bottom, and that's going to be this one right here. So I'm going to take that and I lay it flat next to it, and I'll see, okay, yes, this is how I want it to look. And so I'm going to do right sides together. So just bring it on over, and then you know you need to pin this side, and that's the side you're going to sew. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to pick it up here and just make sure that I'm nice and aligned, which looks like I am. I will lay it right back down and grab my pins, and then I like to just pinch and put the pin right in there. And I'll do the same thing on the other side, and I will also pinch and pin this middle section because it can sag and get offline a little bit. And then I will just tap my pins just so that they lay nice and flat. Now, the other thing you want to look at are your sides here, because now you're not just adding the sashing, you're adding the actual block. And I don't want my block moving around and moving to the left or to the right. I want it to stay exactly where it is. So I'm going to grab 2 more pins here, and I'm going to go ahead and pin. Even though we're not going to sew here, I just want to pin it so that it stays in place. And so I'll pin this area right here, and I'll do the same thing on the bottom as well. We'll pin that, and making sure that this is nice and flush and straight going across, okay? So we'll pin that in place, pinch it, pin it, tap it down, make sure it's nice and flat, and then just double check that all of this is laying nice and flat and even, okay? And then once I have that in place, of course, we're going to bring it back over to Miss Molly, because Miss Molly is going to do her little magic. And we're going to kind of get her underneath here. Grab her threads. They keep falling out on me, but that's okay. And then I'll go ahead and do a couple of stitches. And then I will remove the pin and situate myself here. There we go. And so again, we're coming up to the sashing. Now, in this case, my sashing is now on top, not on the bottom like it was before. So I can actually see how this is going to work. And I'm going to show you something in just a second here. So we're coming up to the sashing. First one's going to be easy. She's going the right direction. So I should have no problems here. This is where people can kind of run into an issue, because the sashing is going against the way of traffic, I guess. How would you say that? I guess, you know, it's kind of bumping up against the foot, and it can easily just flip over this way. And I don't want that to happen. So I am just going to kind of hold this down to make sure she's staying in the right direction. So I'll keep that down with my hand, with my finger over here, and I'll have my other finger kind of moving it along to make sure that it stays nice and flush. Take that a little bit slow just to make sure that the seam allowance gets caught up into the right direction. Then once I have that ready, I'm going to go ahead and remove this pin, and you can just keep going. I think it's really important in terms of hand placement, because your fingers on here are guiding it to be nice and straight, but this one is really important because of the drag that you can have that we talked about. So I think it's good having one hand here and one hand here, just kind of making sure the fabric is going in that nice straight manner that you want. And then once we get really close to this pin, we're going to remove that. And let's look at our corner here. We're getting towards that end, so we'll go ahead and make sure you feed it all the way through. And there you go. Nice, clean seam allowance. Okay. Love that. Perfect. Okay. Back to the ironing board, because we do have to press. And I know some people do not like to press, but you do have to press because, you know, it just helps you with the accuracy by pressing it. So let's go ahead and set the seam first. I'm going to remove those pins that I put over on the sides. So I have no pins on here. Go ahead and press your seams, and you can just press on that inner border that you have to, just to reinforce it, and then go towards the end. Then of course we're going to flip this over and walk it over and finger press that down with our hands. And you're going to want to check, because now the seam allowance is going to want to be on the outside, and we want to actually tuck that in. So you want to do that with your fingers. And it's kind of hard because you can't really see what you're doing because the seam allowance is on the other side. So if you want to go on the other side first, you can do that. I can kind of feel it with my hands here that there's no seam underneath, and it's actually underneath the sashing. And so I'm good with that. I'm going to give it a quick press on to hold it down that way, and then I'm going to flip it over. But if you want to do the other side first, you can totally do that. It makes it a little bit easier for you. So go ahead and press that in place. And then, like I said, I'm going to flip it and just reinforce where that seam is going. And just reinforce that all the way across. Here we go. Okay. And there we are. Yet another block. Yay. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. We've already got 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, and there's 6 of them. So in total. So we're good here. And let's see. So we're going to continue along the way. I'm going to add another sashing piece here. Here we go. Let's go ahead and lay this flat. Right up against it there. Now this one's a little bit wonky. I don't like how this cut has a little tiny piece that is just off. Almost looks like a little bit of a bump. But we're going to go ahead and leave it because I'm not too worried about it, because that's going to be eaten up in the seam allowance. And this side right here is really straight. So I'm good. So I'm going to go ahead and pin that. But I do have a little bit of a bump there. So I'm going to go ahead and pin on each of the sides. And I got to move my pins over this way because they're kind of going all over the place here. Now, when you're pinning, I like to pin my sides first, and then I do the middle. And I just double check the sides before I even bother with the middle, just to make sure they're nice and flush with the edges there. And then I'll grab the middle, pin it. And then we'll do the sides as well. Just double check that it is. Oh, actually, no sides. Sorry, we're doing sashing. No sides for this one. We'll put these 2 pins to the side here. We're just doing the sashing, so we just need the 3 pins here. Hey, my little pin came off. There we go. So pin, pin, and pin just on the sashing, but when you're doing the panels or the block, then you're going to want to pin those sides so that they don't move around on you. But this is such a, you know, it's a small little strip, so you don't need to pin the sides, but you can if you want to. All right, Miss Molly, we've got 2 more to go, so let's slide you back over. Here we are. Okay. All right, so now it's just repeating the same thing over and over again, guys. Just go ahead and line her up. Take a couple stitches, and I'll remove her pin. Little stubborn pin there, didn't want to come off. And here we go. Hand placement is really everything. Again, we're coming to this sashing. I can feel it with my hands, but you can take a peek underneath just to make sure that your seam allowances are tucked away underneath there, and then just go ahead and sew. Another pin. And here we go. Towards that end. Okay. Nice. Let's scoot her over to the side here. And again, grab my little board. And you guessed it. Press, 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 right? So if you guys are working on this project or maybe doing something similar like another panel, let us know and show us your project, because I know there was a couple of people that did post on our Facebook group, and one of them, I can't remember who it was, but they showed their panel and they were frustrated on how the panel was cut, and it could be so wonky when you do that. So you can totally see that. Hey, good morning, Bob. Good morning to you. Yes. Awesome. And so you could totally see that, you know, the panels sometimes are just not cut to size. And so it can be a little frustrating when you are kind of working on it and you see how much you have to cut. So we're going to see that in just a minute. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm reinforcing my back here. So let me know in the chat if that's what you're working on, or if you're doing something else, let me know. All right. We've got another sashing here. So let's add on another block. Again, check your orientation. Make sure you're going the right way. You don't want to kind of end up putting it the wrong way. And this is another panel that we're adding on here. Big block on the top, small block on the bottom. This is how I want it to look. So I'm going to put it on top, right sides together, and line it up with the sashing. Okay, once you get it lined up, just go ahead and grab your pins. And then just pinch and pin. Okay. Pinch, pinch, pinch. I just find it easier to pinch it. I used to not pinch it. I used to try to pin it, but I found that pinching it's actually a lot easier. And then I'm going to do the sides on this one, because now we are sewing the actual block, not just the sashing. And I want to make sure that this doesn't move around on me. So nice and flat, check, 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 check. Looks like we're good. We've got one more block after this, and then we're good. So I'm going to go ahead, bring Miss Molly over, and let's get her going. line her up underneath. Nope, she came right back out. There we go. Couple of stitches, and I'll remove the first pin. Okay. Coming upon that sashing here in the middle. So, let me grab my pin a little close. So if you've got your pin here, I want to make sure that I grab that before I run over it. There we go. Getting very close to this. So this side is all good. This side, you see how it's kind of behaving? It's wanting to flip over. I'm going to have to hold her down. Make sure you are not going anywhere. Go a little slow. And then just kind of tuck her underneath. Lift up the foot if you have to. Make sure she's nice and tucked in. There we go. And she's good. Grab that last pin here. May have shifted just a tad when I pulled it out, but no, we're good. Okay. All righty. There we go. Go, Miss Molly, go. Yes. She's a little speed devil. Man, she loves to just hit that speed and go, go, go. I don't know. I guess I got a heavy foot, right?
Yeah.
My husband loves, he says I have a heavy foot when I'm driving. I don't think so. My dad was. Yeah, my dad. Oh my God. My dad, he loved his cars. He was a mechanic and, you know, he had that heavy foot, but he was always very safe. He didn't do anything too crazy. I'm kind of the same. But yeah. We like to go, 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 go. We've got places to go, people to see. You know, don't have time for that nonsense. So, all right, again, let me see. So I'm going to turn it around this way so you can see the back side first. So again, making sure that my seams are going the way I want them to go. And so I want them to be inside the sashing. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. You could do outside the sashing if you want to. Directions said to bring the seams inside, so I went ahead and do that. And it's just whichever way you decide to do it, just make sure you're consistent with the rest of your project. So, okay, one more press on the outside, I think will do it good. Just one more. Gosh, I just love the way this is being pulled together. Love it, love it, love it. There she is. Yet another one on as well. See how she's just getting longer and longer. But looks fantastic. I really love this design. I think it's really awesome. Okay, so we are on this end here. Let's take this out of the way. Move this on top. Okay, we've got one more sashing here to go. I'm going to put her right on top here. Make sure she's nice and straight. And then pinch, pinch, pinch. Just like, you know, pinch cheeks when you were little and relatives came over and they pinched your cheeks. Yeah, so we do a lot of pinching here. You hated that? Yeah. Those were always the good old fun days when they would come and pinch your cheeks. Oh my goodness. All right. Here we go. Sashing. And we're running kind of low on time and I want to get to the panel. So this may be the last one that I'm going to do. And then we're going to kind of bring out the panel so I can show you a couple things. So let's line her up here. Couple stitches, pull out this pin. And here we go. Making sure she doesn't drag. No drags here. Always dragging on this side, so you got to be careful with that. Oop, take that other pin off. Check that sashing, make sure I can feel that the seams are going in the right direction. And then just keep going towards that end. Go ahead and grab my pin, grab my finger on the edge here and see it all the way through. Awesome. Okay. My pins are just going everywhere. There we go. Let's kind of move these over. Let me grab these pins and put them away before I stick myself. How many guys have sticked yourselves with pins multiple times? Right? Okay, so we've got our next sashing, and we do have one more block. I don't know. Do you think we have time to do one more block before I can show you the panel? I'm going to do this really quickly, making sure. Come on, go the right way. Don't move around on me. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and get this pressed really quickly. And then, of course, we're going to flip it and reinforce on the other side. There we go. See how all the seams, nice and pretty. Reinforce that middle one. All going the right ways. Looks great. I love it. Okay. Alrighty. So we've got one more block here to add on. And I'm going to try to sneak it in if I can. I'm going to do this as quick as I can here. Pumpkin, going the right way. I want to make sure all my pumpkins are aligned, and I'm going to go ahead and do right sides together. Put that on top of my sashing and pin it in place. Now this is the block, so I'm going to do those side pins as well. So grab a few more pins. Go ahead and pinch, pinch, pinch. Turn it a little towards me so that my pins are straight and not on a diagonal. Because if you put your pins on a diagonal, then you're allowing it to kind of move around on you. So make sure your pins are straight. It gives it that little bit of a leeway that it can take, and you don't want that. So lay it nice and flat, and then I'm going to grab two more pins for the side here. All right, and there we go. Okay, check here, check, 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 check. All looks good. And come on, Miss Molly, I need you to be my little speed demon here. All right, here we are. Let's go ahead and take a couple of stitches. Uh-oh, my little foot pedal went running away from me. And let's go ahead and pull out that pin. Coming upon our first sashing here. It's facing on top, so it makes it a little easier. But there we go. See how she's tucked underneath there? There we are. Okay. Take that second pin off. And hand placement, so important. And of course, seeing it through to the end. Okay, we've got that going. So I'm going to set Miss Molly all the way to the side here. I'm going to remove my other two pins that I had holding my sides, and we now have our last panel. I'm going to press her later because I want to show you, now that we've got all 6 columns in place on the top and on the bottom, I want to show you what happens when you line up your panel here. Now, we haven't done any cuts to the panel. All I did was I took the sashing for the top and the bottom, and I went ahead and I pinned it. So I'm going to be sewing that in tonight. But what I want to show you, if I can get this open, let me see if I can orient it the right way so you guys could see it. I'm going to push this. This is the, well, this is the bottom panel, but it doesn't matter, bottom or top. It can play either one. So let me lay this out here. And I'm going to move this so you can see the corner here. So here's the beginning of our column here, right? Here's our panel. And I'll try to open this up so you guys could see it here. Here's the top of the panel, and here is the sashing. Now, you would think that now you would just kind of line this up, right, edge to edge, and you'd have just a nice, clean flow all the way across. But if I hold this in place and then just slide it over to the end, and this is why I did not trim my panel first. All right, I'm going to keep this going all the way to the end. You're going to see, look at how much extra panel we have. You guys see this? It's 1, 2, 3, about 4 inches of the panel here, extra. So if I lined up my border, like you guys just saw, I lined up my border on the other side, nice and flush against the panel, so it was one smooth vertical line. You can see you've got 4 inches here on the side, so you're going to need 2 inches. You're going to need to cut 2 inches on this side and 2 inches on the other side to square it off so that it is nice and flush with this border. And then we're going to be adding another border that goes from the top all the way down across the panel as well. So we're going to lose 4 inches of this panel. So what does that mean to the design of it? So if we lay out the panel and you look at the edges of your panel, and I'm going to try to fold this in the middle so we can see both edges at the same time. Let's see, does that look a little better? Okay, that's a little better. So let's see, can we take the circle out for a minute? Okay, so now this is what I want you to see. So here on the edges, right, we need to take out 2 inches from this side and 2 inches from this side, right? So we're losing that. So when you're looking at your picture and you measure out the 2 inches, that's about this much that you are taking out. And if you go down the line, you're really taking out a big chunk of the tree that's here. So as you go down the panel, you start to see how you have the tree here. You're going to be taking out a big chunk of that tree, which really is not too happy. I'm not too happy with. I really wanted that tree to be on there in the background. But in order to keep the center and to keep your gnomes in the center, you have to get rid of those 2 inches. So I will have to cut into my tree here. And that 2 inches includes this selvage right here. So that selvage kind of saves you a little bit, but you are cutting into the tree. And then on the other side, you're cutting into the tree as well, because the trees are on both ends. So when you're looking at your panel, take a good look at what's on the edges here, because most likely you're going to have to cut that piece off and it's not really going to be part of your panel, which is the point that I really want to emphasize for you guys. So we are going to have to do some cutting here, and that's totally fine. We'll do that. It's a shame that we're going to lose a little bit of that tree. You will see it a little bit on the top here, but I really kind of wanted that in the picture. So that's something that we're going to have to lose just a little bit of, but it's all good because it's still going to look beautiful. Alrighty, so that's what I really wanted to show you guys. Just be very mindful of the panel that you're using and what the edges look like, because you're going to have to cut that to size. And as you can see, it was 4 inches in total, which is quite a lot. So 2 inches on each side. So definitely, you have to look out for that. Alrighty, guys, we are out of time, and I really appreciate you guys being with me today. Do we have time to do the inspirational quote really quick? Let's go run to that really quick. Today's quote of the day, let me leave you this little quote for the day is, a quilt's perfection begins with the simplest steps done carefully and with steady patience. So enjoy the process, have patience, and, you know, just have fun doing what you love to do. Now, thank you guys again. I really appreciate all of your support. Linda's asking, what about adding 2 inches to each side of the border with beautiful batiks? That's an option as well. That is an option. I may kind of tinker with that a little bit. Good point. Thank you. I may have to try to look at that and see what happens. All right, guys, thank you all so much. I really appreciate all of your support. Let's go ahead and head over to Becky's channel because I know that she's going to have something amazing to talk about today. And I don't want to take some of her time. So thank you guys all for tuning in. I really appreciate all of your support. Hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye, everyone.
So long for now, so long. Glad you stayed a while. Hope you liked my crafting style. Hope I left you with a smile. By now, keep your mind and space clutter-free. Hope your day is bright as can be. So long, my friends, till we craft once again. Bye now, stay crafting. See you tomorrow. So long, my friends, till we craft once again.